Hello. Hi, Susan. Hi, everybody. Um, Thank you. Um, Lying fallow. Lying fallow. I have recently retired from work that I absolutely loved. I was the chaplain on a very busy palliative care team at Central Vermont Medical Center. This was a second career for me, one that I stumbled into and then realized it was the work that life had been preparing me for all these years. Deciding to step away from the work and from my colleagues on the palliative care team was not an easy decision. And as many of you have probably experienced, once you say that you're retiring, the questions come. What are your plans? What are you going to do all day with yourself? Or I have good news, you can work per diem. And then there was the friend who said, give yourself a year before you make any commitments. And this was about the same time that Susan Bachner called me, sent an email, and asked if I would offer a reflection on Shmita. This was a term I was not familiar with. And then I learned it is the year of the land lying fallow. Perfect. Shmita and retirement. Exodus 23, 10 through 11 tells us that not only is the land to lie fallow for 1 year, debts are to be forgiven, slaves are to be freed, and the fields open so the poor may glean the fields, orchards, and olive trees. For 6 years you shall sow your land and gather its yield, but the 7th year you shall let it rest and lie fallow, so the poor of your people may eat, and what they leave the wild animals may eat as well. And you shall do the same with your vineyard and your olive trees. What a generous and kind idea. And yet I must admit that I find myself wondering how the people had the courage to follow this mitzvah. For it is one thing to allow the fields to lay fallow, and it is quite another to manage the uncertainty of this reality. If the fields are fallow and the land gleaned, will there be enough food for the year? If all debts are forgiven, can one survive economically? And if the slaves are freed, who will work the fields? Questions the Israelites must have asked, questions we ask today as we strive to care for our families, communities, each other, and this world. Questions we have asked amidst the fear and uncertainty of this past pandemic year. It is the uncertainty that gives me pause. One of the many things I learned from patients in the hospital is the true difficulty of facing the uncertainty of illness and aging. Even if we can plan for a fallow year, there is the possibility of not having enough food in reserve. It took courage for the Israelites to follow this commandment. Shmita can be a guide to help us navigate the fear and uncertainty of climate change, poverty, and the suffering of so many in every corner of our world. For it is when the fields lies fallow that the soil renews and nutrients are replenished, and our planet can begin to heal. When debts are forgiven, economic balance can begin to be restored, and everyone can sleep with a full stomach each night. And when slaves are freed, we begin to see each other as fully human, and dignity is affirmed. Caring for each other for family, for this world, can be a daunting and at times exhausting task. Shmita, like Shabbat, can be a guide to help us lie fallow so that we can rest, renew, and replenish ourselves. Shmita invites us to consider our obligations to land, to people, to Israel, and to our world. What is it that we want to accomplish in the coming year? And where will we choose to be fallow? I'd like to leave you with a blessing for rest. This was written by the late Rabbi Cheryl Lewart. May you find a sacred rhythm in your life, a habit of punctuating your days of work with a seventh day of absolute rest. May the gift of rest bless you with awareness of what is really important to you. May Shabbat restore your soul and offer holiness to ease your mind and heal your spirit. May you play and take a walk, enjoy food and friends, and take comfort, easy and long, in the blessing of sacred rest. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.